Alright guys, we got Eddie's rear end in. Powder coat. Came out good. Clint did a good job. Did the subframe too, and he had to redo the housing because it got shortened. But we put it all in, and we put the fill lines behind the anti-roll bar, and they're touching. And the anti-roll bar is going to be moving every time the car moves. I don't want it to rub a hole, so we're going to pull everything back out. Probably, I think we're going to kind of beat in the body of the car right there, because we can't really route them anywhere else that I would feel comfortable with. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of room now, but the axle probably sits, I would say, like 2 to 3 inches away from the top of this right here, so it's not like we can route them underneath this bar, because then I don't want to have the chance of it running, the fill lines running into the drive line. So we're gonna pull it all out. His axles finally came in. They are resplined, and then they cut, I'm gonna say like 3/8 or maybe 1/4 of an inch off of each one. Then we'll basically just seal the third member in, put the diff fluid. We're gonna leave all these loose for right now because we're gonna take it back to Matt's shop, and they're gonna set it up for, I think, like 150% anti-squat. So we don't want to tighten those and have to loosen them just to move the bars, because I think we're gonna have to move them anyway. So yeah, we'll go from there. Got the rear end back in. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's plenty of room in between the fill lines, the return and the feed. Got them all zip tied back up there. Next what we'll be doing is we'll be taking out the transmission. Eddie got this one built. I think it's rated at like 2200 horsepower. That one will be going in for Texas 2K. We'll be taking this one as a spare. We just got to put the third member in now. Get the axles in. Get the brakes on. Get the wheels on. And then all we'll have left to do is pretty much run new brake lines, because from the factory these cars had the brake caliper on this side. There's the brake line on the wheel woods, it's on this side, so we need to basically just get them from there. We'll just get some Earl's stainless line or something to get those, to get that done. But like I said, we're gonna keep these loose for Matt. You can set pinion angle, do all that stuff. We've never done that, but I'll take you guys to Matt's shop while he's doing all that. He's gonna set the anti-squat stuff. He's gonna set the pinion angle. I've never done that. He's gonna measure for the drive line. I think that place will have the drive line in a few days. We're actually gonna get 2 made, so we have a spare for Texas, because the prep over there for Texas 2K is pretty crazy and we've never had to deal with it. Get his wheels back on. He hasn't powder coated them yet. I don't know what Eddie's gonna do with that or what, but we're just waiting on him now to give me a couple more zip ties, some rags and stuff, so I can clean the areas where we're gonna be putting the gasket on for the third member and all that, and then go from there. I'll have the car back on the ground. What's up, guys? It has been like 2 or 3 weeks now. We got everything back from powder coat and everything is in. Clint did an amazing job. With the wheels on. The whole subframe and everything is all nice and powder coated. We're having problems right here with the fuel lines. I don't know if you guys can see it. but they're pretty close. But there's a pretty good gap in between it now. So everything's loose. We're gonna go get it set up at Matt at Ultimate Performance. He is going to set the anti-squat, I think I got 150%, right, Ed?
Yeah.
Or something around there. We also got the parachute cable on. We got the lever inside the car. I'll show you guys that when we put it back down. Eddie got his head, or the head comes tomorrow. His head comes tomorrow, so we're gonna start working on that. His tranny's done, so we're gonna be swapping out this tranny. We are going to Texas 2K, so we're still gonna take this tranny as a spare. Yeah, we're just gonna start going in on this. Hey Ed, you wanna show him your new baby?
Yeah, it's out here.
Look what Eddie bought. This thing's bad. We're excited about this. We wanted to get it before we went to Houston, and we did. Well, Eddie did. Golf cart, that bad boy's still in the works. We got the wife here. My son's here. You guys will see them in a little bit. But this is Eddie's new baby.
Mark Edge Pro from Phil's Trailers.
Yeah, Phil's Trailer Sales, they're awesome. We actually got back last night picking this thing up. It is incredible, man. It's got the cabinets up here, subwoofer, it's got the full stereo, it's Bluetooth, has the outlets, there's like a little closet, I guess. You can put his fire jacket and stuff. It's got the toolbox. Here, kind of started putting stuff in it. It's got the spare tire in there. How big is it, Ed?
34 feet.
34 feet. It's huge. I don't know if like you're gonna be able to, if you can tell how big it is in the video, but when we put Eddie's car in here, we're still gonna have so much room to do whatever we want. Shout out again to Phil's Trailer Sales. Boom. This is the Edge Pro by Hallmark. Triple axle. Why don't you go stand by it, Ed, real quick, so you can get like a feel of like how big this thing is. It's huge, man. There's Louis' Lambo. First car to be loaded in it. It's got outdoor speakers. It's got the lights out here. We're gonna be set up in Houston, I'll tell you what. We're just gonna have to get our shit together to make sure the car does what it needs to do. Back to Eddie's car. We gotta get the radiator out, because we're gonna take the ATI off for the new timing belt and stuff. Eddie got a new timing belt tensioner, the billet one. We had a small leak on the turbo drain. See it in there. We're just gonna take that out, re-Teflon it, put that back. We're gonna basically go through every nut and bolt on this car and just make sure everything is tight. Probably put blue Loctite on most of the stuff, huh?
Yeah.
I think that was one thing that we didn't do the first time we built the motor and stuff. We're still noobs, I guess. But you live and you learn. We'll be doing that. And put the head on. You guys will see that whole process, but for right now we're gonna get the radiator out and get that ATI off. And there's Louis. Hey Louis, come here. Come say what's up.
What, Daddy?
Say what's up.
You can't even see.
You can't even see?
No.
Okay, we'll put it down in a little bit. Well, we got the radiator out. We got the ATI off. I tell you, the ATI puller and installer is awesome. It's really, really nice taking it off. But this is Eddie's new tensioner. This is what actually failed. This is the reason why the pistons hit the valves. But I don't know if we lost or misplaced. We just can't find the washer. You're supposed to use the OEM washer to put that back on. And it goes right there, but we can't find it. So Eddie's in there. He's looking for it now. I think he's just gonna order one. His head does come in tomorrow. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll still put the head on tomorrow because we have to send the car to get painted. And we're supposed to send it, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday. I doubt we'll get that washer in by then. It's not a washer we could just go to the hardware store and get. It has like a special little taper on one end. So when it's tight, the whole thing can still swivel. So we're kind of stuck there right now. I don't know if we're just gonna put the head on. We'll put the turbo on, put the intake manifold on, basically to seal everything up, because we just don't want anything to be open while it's at paint. So we might be able to just get the intake manifold back on, get the exhaust manifold back on, get the turbo on. That way, this is the turbo oil feed. That way we can get all that stuff back on and everything can be plugged, because that sanding on these cars, man, that stuff gets everywhere. So just want to make sure it's protected. But yeah, well, that's where we're at right now. Tomorrow we'll be back. We're going to put the head on. He's actually, I think we're gonna put these head studs. I think we're gonna put the 625. I don't know if it's focusing on there, but I think we're gonna put the 625 head studs on it. I bought these for my car. My motor's in that box right there, but I'm gonna go billet block, and we're gonna get the 9/16 studs. So I'm not gonna need those studs anymore. So they're a little bit better than the ones that Eddie had on the car, because we're gonna be pushing it pretty hard at TX2K. So it'll be nice to have those. We're also gonna take like an extra head gasket just in case we gotta change that, but we'll get on into all that later. Yeah, well, back tomorrow. Alrighty guys, it's the next day. Eddie's head got back from Head Games. The cams, these aren't a GSC box, but they are Brian Crowder 276 cams. We have the ETI off and stuff. Head gaskets on. I'm going to clean the bottom of the head and put the head on, and then torque it down. I think we're gonna end up using different head studs. I don't know, Eddie said he doesn't really care what we do with that, but we'll see if we're gonna put those ones on with this motor, or we'll just wait for him for the new motor and just basically put his other ARP studs, head studs that he had previously on the car, which, I mean, to tell you the truth, they're fine. I do also need to go get a new coolant hose. To get the head off last time we had to pull on it and we ended up kind of messing it up, so I'm gonna go get a new one. And it's easier to put that on, clamp it down while it's off, and then you put the head on instead of trying to put it on there back there and the head's already on. So yeah, we'll start getting down on that. So there's a change of plans. We're going to get the tranny out first. We're having a problem with this clearing. We usually do this when the tranny's out, so we can kind of tilt the motor. And then basically once the head sits all the way where it needs to sit, that little part like fits perfectly right into the firewall. So we're gonna take the tranny out. We got to take it out anyway because we're putting Eddie's new tranny in it. That one right there. So we're gonna pull the tranny out so we can kind of tilt the motor a little bit just to get the head on, and then we'll get that tranny back in it. So alright guys, tranny's out. Ready for the new one. Get everything out of here. She's on a adapter plate that allows us to put a Chevy transmission to a 2JZ. It's pretty cool. I'll bill it. But hopefully we'll have better luck putting the head on now, that we can kind of move the motor around. But I think once it's in, it fits in like a little slot perfect, so it'll be good. All right guys, we got the head on now. We're gonna take all the cam caps off so we can put the washers, then we'll put the studs, then we'll torque it 25, 50, 75, 100, and then we'll put on the cams. We'll probably put on the cam gears. We're waiting on a washer still. That's gonna, it has to go in between the block and the tensioner. There's a special bevel on it, but we're still waiting on that. I next day aired it from Rose Street, so hopefully it'll come here tomorrow. And then yeah, we'll go from there.
Did you need the big wrench too though? I was just messing with you.
Do you have the black one?
Yeah, it's in my toolbox.
That one's not big enough. I thought it would be.
I was just joking.
It gives you a timer when this thing's gonna die, huh?
Does it?
5 minutes.
No, that's how much room I have left on that SD card.
That's it then. Oh yeah, it's 49% battery left.
How much?
49.
Over 49? Not bad. Just like to put a little bit of this on the threads. It's a lot easier when the motor's out of the car because you get to put all these in and then just slide the head on top of them.
Oh, if it's supposed to happen at the track, this is how we'd have
If
to
it
do
happens at the track, this is the way we're gonna have to do it. So
This is a good thing happened now. We knew the depth of the front of the head on the block itself.
yeah. Alrighty, got all the studs in, all the washers, all the nuts, and that stuff right there. Wait for Eddie to come back, and we're going to torque the head, and then we'll be able to put the intake on, the exhaust manifold, turbo. Getting ahead of myself. We actually need to put the cams on first. We'll put assembly lube on top of all the buckets. There, etc. And then we'll also put it on the lobes of all the cams. You put those in, you put them at a certain degree before you tighten them down, and then there's certain caps that you tighten down first because you can actually snap the cams in half. We don't want to do that. So yeah, get you guys put on a time lapse while we do the head torquing. Man, that is a workout for sure. I'm gonna put lube on all those so we can go ahead and set the cams in there, and then get the cams on. We'll be able to put the cam and gears on, and then we'll put the cam covers on, and then we'll start going from there, and then we can get the intake on. And that'll be that. It's getting there. It's a long process, but it's not too bad. Alrighty guys, cams are on, torqued. Now we just got to put the cam gears on for these bad boys right here. Doesn't really matter which one goes on to which. And then once those go on, we'll set the head to top dead center, and then we'll set the motor to top dead center, because you can't have the motor on top dead center because your number 1 piston and your number 6 piston are all the way at the top, and when you put the cams in, the lobes push down on those ones, so it'll send the valves into the back piston, which it'd be okay if they're factory cams, but this is an interference motor now with the cams that Eddie has, so we have to do it a little bit different. But and no, we did not learn that the hard way. Yeah, we'll just put those on now, and then we'll get the cam covers on. I don't know if we'll go too much farther today, but we'll see what happens. Well, got the intake on. We got the cam gears on. Cams are on. Eddie had these valve covers, and they're a pain in the ass. We ended up having to silicone them on every time, and to take them off, it wasn't fun, Hyde.
No, it wasn't fun at all.
So I bought these anodized ones, these black anodized ones from, who's it from? Custom Plenum Creations, right?
CPC.
Yeah, CPC. But then I was going to give them to Eddie because I was going to get some other ones with an engraving on them. But I was going to give these ones to Eddie, and we're about to put them on, and he points out that I got mine for dry sump, so I don't have an oil fill. So we're either going to drill and tap it for an oil fill, or I just messaged the CPC guy to see if he has any in stock, and we'll just order another set. He can usually get them to us pretty quick. So I think we're going to stop here today. This will probably end this video. The next video will be us probably timing the motor, putting the turbo on it, probably putting the new transmission in it, filling everything up, and probably starting it, Hyde.
Yeah.
I think we'll start it in the next video, so hang tight. Thanks for watching, guys. Alrighty. Got all the studs in, all the washers, all the nuts, and that stuff right there. Wait for Eddie to come back, and we're going to torque the head, and then we'll be able to put the intake on, the exhaust manifold, turbo. Getting ahead of myself. We actually need to put the cams on first. We'll put assembly lube on top of all the buckets, there, etc. And then we'll also put it on the lobes of all the cams. You put those in, you put them at a certain degree before you tighten them down, and then there's certain caps that you tighten down first, because you can actually snap the cams in half. We don't want to do that, so yeah, get you guys put on a time lapse while we do the head torquing.